Is Lacie Patrick, and I'm going to be continuing to talk about the American bullfrog. I'm going to first start where it's invasive and how it got there. So, the American bullfrog is originally from the eastern United States, but it has invaded the western United States as well as invaded global regions. It's mainly invasive in California in the west, but it has also reached Oregon, Washington, Arizona, Colorado, and Hawaii. For global invasion, it has reached Canada, Mexico, South America, Europe, and Asia. It got there for many reasons, but the top three that I found, first, the pet trade. This is when animals are traded legally or illegally. They can be used for experimentation. People will buy them to experiment on them, but they can sometimes escape. So they can find new regions to create a new population. They can also be used as bait for recreational fishing, and as well they can also escape by being used as bait. But aquaculture is the third one I found. This is when animals are farmed for food or other reasons, but the American bullfrog was used in aquaculture for frog leg farming. They are continuing to still spread throughout the western United States as well as globally through natural dispersal or human assisted dispersal. Natural dispersal is kind of when they will migrate elsewhere, especially if their first region has dried up because they thrive best in warm waters. And then for the human assisted dispersal, they will this kind of involves the pet trade and the aquaculture. If they escape, this is the human assisted. All right, continuing on with the impacts of the American bullfrog, there's quite a few impacts, but they will basically eat anything that will fit in their mouth. This is a huge problem for biodiversity. For native species, they will get killed by the bullfrog because it eats basically anything. They are also huge competitors, and the native wildlife will be outcompeted by the bullfrog most of the time. They also carry a deadly disease called chytridiomycosis, and this is a fungal disease. And the American bullfrog are carriers, and they're also pretty much immune to this disease. But most amphibians are not immune to this disease, and this is also a huge problem for um, biodiversity because it kills off basically all the amphibians in the native species. They also disrupt the food webs and nutrient cycles in the ecosystem as well. All right, continuing on, this slide's going to be talking about the bullfrog's niche as well as behavioral changes in the populations it invades. So for the bullfrog's niche, um, it can adapt in many different environments. It does mainly adapt well in warm waters, like I mentioned earlier, but as long as it's aquatic, it can pretty much thrive anywhere. They also have a big range of prey, so they will basically eat anything, and this will help them survive because they will eat basically anything in any region that they populate in. And they also have a longer breeding season, and the tadpole will survive almost all the time, which in a lot of different species, the tadpole stage, they will die. So, yeah, but for behavioral changes in the native population, this includes less activity, changes in habitat use, and refuge. So mainly they are trying to hide from the bullfrog to survive. And behavioral changes in the bullfrog population, this just mainly includes aggressive behavior in competition for food or habitat. And the solutions that have been come up for the bullfrog to kind of die off is direct removal, also altering habitats, so kind of trying to remove them from places they breed the best so that it will limit them growing in population, and also just using chemicals to try and kill them. It's been the best ways to kill them off so far, and what I found was that it's been pretty successful, but they are still invading a lot of regions. So yeah.